let's get this straight. So you've completely redesigned the frame. You've got a really, really nice paint job that you can buy in the store. It's not online only, is it?
No, so this will be in sort of around 70 stores nationwide.
Hey everyone, Andy from Singletrack magazine here, and I'm with Mike from Calibre Bikes.
Hi guys, how you doing?
And we've got the all-new Calibre Bossnut to look at. And when I say all new, I mean completely new from every aspect, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's basically a whole new bike from ground up. Just the name effectively stays the same, I think, pretty much.
Right, so let's start with the frame. What's changed on this frame compared to the previous Bossnut?
So we've got a whole new tube set in the front triangle, which came from our Century bike before. New geometry, so it's a little bit longer, slacker, a little bit lower, and we've also got the steep seat angle on there. And then we've also got a 142x12 bolt through finally on the Bossnut. So something that we've been sort of trying to do for the last couple of years, but never managed to sort of achieve that. But for this model, we've managed to do it.
The geometry changes will make it obviously longer, a bit more stable at speed.
Yeah.
The slack head angle would help with the steeper stuff and get a bit more gnarly.
Yeah.
But is it as slack and as aggressive as the Century?
No, so we basically still wanted this to be sort of trail focused, but what we obviously learned a huge amount on the development of the Century. So we kind of obviously wanted to bring some of that aspect into that into the Bossnut kind of family and bring that, like you say, that confidence and that stability. And also, like, since doing the Bossnut, we've seen a lot more people kind of doing higher end things with that bike than we really anticipated back when we did it sort of 3-4 years ago. We didn't really envisage people doing the crazy things that bike really wasn't anticipated for. So we're hoping these changes kind of will bring that in line with pushing the boundaries again of what can be done. So.
Yeah. So I mean, it's an entry level bike on price, but in terms of performance and geometry and spec, it's not entry level at all.
No,
really, is it?
Again, that's what kind of Calibre's all about. Bringing that sort of aspect to the riders, and we just really wanted this bike to kind of take that next step up in terms of performance and geometry, and kind of just bring sort of more riders into that fold and keep it in there. So yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned that you changed the seat angle. Is it so it's steeper now? Is it?
Yeah. So it's 74.5, and that's just kind of again brings those riders a little bit further over the bottom bracket. And it's something we did when we did the sort of the testing. We actually had a sort of a frame, and we built it with the Evo parts. So the only difference between the two bikes in back-to-back testing was the frame, the chassis, as it were. And it was something that was really evident straight out of the gate, was that riding position was much more comfortable, much more sort of efficient. Just you were able to kind of clean more technical trails easier, and then just when you're just riding along sort of gravel paths or whatever, winching your way back up to a descent, it just felt like a nicer place to be, if you see what I mean, in terms of your weight distribution.
Great. So any other changes on the bike as well? So I mean, obviously we've got different tube sets and things, but I noticed there's a few, so there's no cable routing along the down tube anymore? Yeah,
so again, sort of with the dropper post now, it's we've got sort of semi-stealth routing, so it will run along here under the BB, and then there's a stealth port in the back of the seat tube. On the older models, quite rightly, we had the external routing as well, but as kind of things have progressed in terms of parts and accessories and what's available aftermarket, the external posts are kind of few and far between now. Everything's going to that stealth routing, so that was an easy thing, and it just makes the bike aesthetically look nicer than it did before.
And that's a simple routing, isn't it? I mean, if you went for this bike and decided to add a stealth dropper on at a later date, you don't need to worry about threading your hose all the way through the down tubes.
No, it would take you sort of 5 minutes to thread it in. So yeah, it's pretty easy to do. So again, sort of the whole idea of, with all of our bikes pretty much was kind of, doing away with things that don't necessarily bring anything to the performance of that bike. Things like the external cable routing, we've said it before when you interviewed me with the Century, it's just easy. And if you want to replace a cable in the car park, you can. You're not poking a hole forever and stuff.
And it's frustrating, isn't it? Like you say, you get to a bike ride and you're like, oh man, I need to change this cable. If you're having to thread it through the inside, it just ruins the experience, and that's not what you want to do, is it? You want to go out and enjoy the ride, really.
Yeah, totally. And it just also brings another element of small costs, granted, but all of those small costs sort of mount up, where if we sort of go to conventional external cable routing, we can kind of save those costs and put those into other specification areas.
Yeah, actually, speaking of that, so this is the entry-level bike, but we won't mention the price, but although this is the entry-level bike, it still comes with a 1x12 Eagle group set, which is, I don't think I've seen a full suspension bike at this price with a 1x12 group set yet.
There'll probably be a few more with this new SRAM SX Eagle group set that the guys at SRAM have managed to produce. It's something we tried to do with the Evo model.
Right.
We really tried to put an Eagle group set on that bike, but there just wasn't the capability at that time with the NX Eagle. But the SX Eagle has just brought that price point down a little bit. They've used a huge amount of engineering plastics, so the price points come down, and things like the power spline 3-piece crank set again keep that price down. But in terms of performance level, the rider gets that huge 50 tooth. And then, like I say, coupled with the steeper seat angle and the longer reach, it just makes this bike climb, really, really efficiently.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I think that's going to be like a real, like an eye opener when people go and have a look at this bike. It's going to be like, oh yeah, it looks amazing. The paint job is superb. Actually, if you see it in the sunlight, it looks amazing. But then when you see 1x12, you see SRAM brakes on it and everything, it's just like, wow, this is a pretty impressive piece of kit.
Yeah, and the SRAM brakes again, those are a kind of a thing that might kind of get just past, but the level T's that are on here, they're a great little brake. They're super lightweight for the price point. They're so powerful. One of our riders, Ali, was out in Morzine-en-Laget doing the sort of photos and some video for it, and it was actually one of the first things that he commented on about the bike, which was a little bit depressing after working on it so hard. The brakes are really good. That was pretty nice to kind of know that we'd got the right sort of point on there, because like I say, I think you will be going a little bit faster on this bike than you would have any of the previous bikes.
I mean, that geometry just is more stable, more confidence inspiring, so you're going to go a bit harder and faster, aren't you?
Yeah, so the head angle's gone to a 66 degree, which is quite slack for sort of the 130 trail bike that it is. And then we got the new Recon fork from RockShox, which is a lot lighter, a lot stiffer than the old one, and it's also got the fast black stanchions. So
it looks really nice.
Looks a lot better than the chrome stanchions. So yeah.
Anything special about the rear shock on this bike?
It's the same rear shock as we've had on the previous models, but we worked with the guys at RockShox again. Again, I think kind of that Century project kind of really helping out with our relationship with the guys, and we've just changed the tune. So last kind of 3 years, it was a medium tune, and it's now a medium light tune. Just hopefully with the kind of changes in the geometry and everything, just gives that rider a little bit more kind of ability to get the most out of the bike. So yeah,
it's something that, again, like if you go in and you look at this bike, that's not something that you'll necessarily, you wouldn't know if you looked at it. You need to be told that, don't you?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's okay, a brand just changing the geometry and completely redesigning the bike, but if the old suspension tech that was with the old bike doesn't work with the new one, it's pointless, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you've gone that step and you've actually tuned it to work.
Yeah, we just really kind of wanted to make sure that, like say, if we changed anything, the new sort of parts actually brought something to it, or if we're taking something away, that we're not kind of it's going to be missed, if you see what I mean. So, and then things like the tune, that's really important, because ultimately, otherwise, that just is a big expense to try and change it a later
Exactly,
date.
Yeah. I mean, there are a few other like really nice little details that, again, you wouldn't necessarily notice, but they've been changed just to improve the rider, the comfort and the fun, basically, aren't they?
It's just little things, I suppose. One of those would be the grips. We've changed to a light, softer compound grip, where a few of the reviews of bikes gone past was that the grips were a little bit hard, also a little bit kind of in the wet, and if you had dirty gloves from, say, a crash or whatever, that you would just spin. Yeah, so we've changed that, so they're a lot softer now, and also the sort of the texture of them, there's a lot more grip to be had there. Ultimately, it's a personal preference, but again, at the price point of this bike, if they're sort of £20 or something, that's, in terms of percentage, is quite a lot of money to kind of have to change straight away. So, and it was an easy change for us to make. So we did that. So yeah. And
how about the tyres too? You mentioned something about that front tyre.
Yeah. So we worked with our bikes. We've used a lot of WTB, and the Bossnut especially has been WTB equipped from the word go. And we worked with the guys at WTB to bring their high grip compound, which is on their aftermarket tyres, to this comp level tyre. So It's still a wire bead, you know, it's still the kind of their entry level price point tire, but now has the high grip compound. So it will just bring again that next level of confidence and grip in the wet on roots and rocks and stuff like that. So, but you know, without pushing the price point up by putting an aftermarket tire on. So.
Okay, so let's get this straight. So you've completely redesigned the frame. You've got a really, really nice paint job. You've changed everything from the shock tune to the gearing to 1x12, comfier tires, comfier grips, and it's custom tuned suspension for this bike.
Yeah.
So it's going to cost me what, like £3,000 or £4,000?
No, it's £1,100.
£1,100 for this complete bike, for a 1x12 full suspension bike that you can buy in the store. It's not online only, is it?
No, so this will be in sort of around 70 stores nationwide, and then online as well. So if you want it being delivered to your home, then you can do, or if you want it delivered to a store and then they build it up, or likewise, like you say, you can just go into a store and have a sit down on the bikes and try it for size.
Yeah, we actually mentioned before we started filming this that the Bossnut's become a bit of a cult bike, hasn't it, really?
Yeah.
And there's a huge owners network as well, isn't there?
Yeah, so the video we've actually just filmed for this on Saturday just gone past at Leeds Urban Bike Park, and we invited the guys from the Bossnut owners group, and there's just over 1,400 members as it stands, and it's nothing to do with us. You know, those guys have kind of done that. It's all over their own back, and there is a real kind of sort of, you know, kind of group that they do organise meets.
Yep.
They had 80 odd riders turn up to Cannock Chase, all out of their own steam, and it's a really a good thing to do, and it was really humbling for myself to sort of speak to these guys and realise that, you know, that the bikes actually brought a huge amount of fun to them, which is what I obviously aim to do. So
and it's amazing, like you say, like you can go from, like, you can get this £1,100 bike, and because it's got that sorted frame geometry, that new tube set and everything, you could build on it, or you can use it as it is, and you can go from like Leeds Urban Bike Park to Leger Morzine on the same bike and not feel like, oh, I don't have enough bike.
No, totally.
That's incredible, and that's probably why there's 1,400 members to that club. All right. Cool. So when are these going to be available in store if we wanted to buy one?
9th of August, they'll be in stores and online. And we've also got the ladies version as well, which is effectively a change in just the colour. The only change in specification is the handlebar width is slightly narrower.
Okay.
And then the colour is like a really nice grey with like a turquoisey, tealy kind of accents on it as well.
So that's everything on the Bossnut. What we'll do now is we'll get a chest camera on. We'll do some riding footage. We'll get some time on the bike and do a full review. I'm sure Mike will be back again with more Calibre bike news. Yeah,
we've got a few more bikes in the pipeline, and some are a bit closer than others. So but there's quite a lot of kind of new exciting stuff coming from Calibre. Yeah.
Awesome, cool. So if you've got any questions about this bike or maybe future bikes, I don't know if you can tell you.
Some of them, maybe.
Let us know in the comment section below, and we'll do our best to answer them as quickly as possible. And don't forget to subscribe for more mountain bike news and reviews. See you all soon. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye.